so today I'm gonna do my first time tag. It's not what you might be thinking it is. It's actually just all the firsts that I've had in my life put into one video. Let's get started. My first word. Now, I didn't know what this one was. I don't remember when I was like 2. So I asked my mom and dad. They couldn't really remember, so I'm like, wow, thanks. But they did have a lot of kids. My mom said she's pretty sure it's either mama or dada, and she thinks it was mama. So I'm just gonna go with mama. My first pet. My first pet was a cat, and her name was Princess. It was a stray that one of my brothers brought home, and she was a tabby cat. Ever since then, I've been a cat person. I love cats. My first best friend is my friend from kindergarten. Her name is Rachel, and we did everything together. Gymnastics, swim team, all the clubs at school. And the best part is that we're still in touch and we're still best friends, and she actually just got married this past summer. It's crazy to have a friend for so long. My first crush. My first crush was in preschool. His name was Drew. I just remember like going home after preschool thinking, I can't wait to go back. I cannot wait to see him. Like, he is so cute. This is a picture of him, and I was devastated because the next year he moved, and that was the end of that story. My second crush was in kindergarten. The first day of school, I remember walking into class, and there was, the desks were like 4 connected, so you're sitting across from someone, and I sat down, and the kid across from me was so cute. His name was Ryan, and me and my best friend, I guess, would have like debates on who was gonna marry him first. And the best part is in yearbooks, I was always right next to him because his name started with an A too, so it'd be him and then me, and I'm like, it's perfect. So my first cassette, back when you had like tape players, was Ricky Martin. I was in love with Ricky Martin. I had a t-shirt of his face on it, and I would sing karaoke and sing Livin' La Vida Loca like every day. Okay, just imagine like a 6-year-old me singing my heart out to that song, because that was me. Now, my first CD was Spice Girls, and I would dance in my room and sing along to Wannabe. If you want my future. My first fear was a fear of earthquakes. When I was about 6, there was an earthquake, and I was so terrified. I remember my mom came in and she's like, oh, there's an earthquake, like, duck and cover. And for like the next year probably, I would always sleep in my parents' room because I was so terrified that there was gonna be another earthquake. I remember the next day I had a soccer game, and everyone was talking about how cool and like fun the earthquake was, and I'm like, what are you talking about? We almost died, guys. No. There hasn't really been one, so I'm like over that fear though. My first car was a blue Ford Taurus. I loved it because it was blue, and that's my favorite color. It was one of my dad's old work cars, so he let me use it for going around town, for driving. My first guitar was a pink Daisy Rock guitar, and I remember thinking it was the coolest thing because it was pink. And then when I started YouTube, I decided to trade it in at Guitar Center because I wanted to be taken as a professional, and I thought if I used a pink guitar that no one would take me seriously. My first video was Bubbly by Colby Clay. I was smiling at the beginning, and my brother's like,
don't smile, you look stupid.
Oh, well, I don't want to look stupid. So I'm not smiling at all, and it looks like someone's forcing me to sing. It's so embarrassing. Now, my first collaboration was in 2010. I flew to New York to visit Kurt Schneider. He's like, hey, I have this Taylor Swift medley. It's gonna be so cool. So how about you fly out and I'll produce it and do the video, and it's gonna be awesome. So that was also my first professional video. That same trip, I drove to New Jersey and I met Christina Grimmie, and we also did a collaboration. I think it's the first time on a plane as well, so the whole thing was just like mind-blowing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more to life than where I've lived my whole life. Now I'm gonna show you a few of my first things. Now, this was my first brush. I'm pretty sure I've had it ever since I was a baby. It's super soft, and afterwards I'd use it on my dolls. This was called a Silky. So I used to suck my thumb. My mom would sew these little tabs on so you could put it around like your hand. I would silk. Silking was a verb, it's something you did. So I would suck my thumb and silk my Silky, and that's how I'd fall asleep every night. Now, this was my first doll. Her name is Tabitha, and I got her one Christmas when I was about 4 or 5. I still remember it. I walked down, and there's this big wicker basket, and she was laying inside of it, and she had like 3 different outfits on the side, and she smelled like vanilla. She still kind of smells like it, it's just not as strong. I just remember being so in awe and so like, oh my gosh, She's so perfect. I named her Tabitha because I wanted her to fit in with all the T's in our family. So there's Travis, Tyler, Thomas, Todd, Trent, Tiffany, Tevin, and Tabitha. No doll after could ever replace her because she just means so much to me. And there is also my first baby blanket. It has a Precious Moments doll on one side and hearts on the other. Along with Tabitha, I would take this on every trip. I'd never go anywhere without this because they were my security, something that was always there for me. This was my first camera that I filmed my first videos with. It was a Kodak camera that made me sound like I had a lisp. It had a video function, so I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna try this. You never know what'll happen. My first boyfriend was in 6th grade. His name was Sean. I'm pretty sure we passed notes and it's like, oh, do you like me? And it's like, oh yeah. It was super cheesy and he asked me to be his girlfriend at recess and I'm like, yeah, like he's like the cutest kid in the class, of course. But then the next day I felt so bad because I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16. I was just like, my parents are gonna be so disappointed in me. I can't do this, like, I'm not ready for this. So the next day I told him, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't date you. I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend. I really wasn't missing out on much. But I do remember writing a song about him. I think I called him and I was gonna sing it to him, but he wasn't home. And so probably dodged a bullet there because my first songs were not that great. My first phone was a little green phone called the Amigo. All my friends had the Razor because that was the cool thing. So it had 4 buttons. I could call 4 people. I knew how to reprogram it so I could call anyone I wanted. I was in 6th grade with this phone for like children. Then again, it was the start of phones, so I don't really mind. And it was good enough to call my mom and be like, yo, where are you at? Why am I the last one at school? Wanna pick me up or should I just walk? My first teddy bear from a boy is this guy right here. His name is Waffle, which is short for waterfall. I had been dating a guy for about a year and this was my Christmas present from him. When things would be hard or, you know, I'd like break down, I would cry, but I'd always hold Waffle. And so Waffle would always catch my tears. When I'm like a waterfall, he catches my tears. Then if you say waterfall really fast, it kind of sounds like waffle. And who doesn't love waffles? Waterfall, 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 waffle. And he's still my favorite. My first concert was a concert at the park and it was the Beach Boys. That was in 2007. I was 9. I just remember that John Stamos was on stage and I loved John Stamos from Full House and I just remember kind of fangirling a little bit because I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's from Full House, like this is so cool. My first purchase with my own money was this pink terry cloth sweater from Target and I think it was like 12 bucks and my parents had finally started paying us allowance. We had this game where we could do chores and raise money. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, like this is so much money. Do I really want this sweater? And it made me value like how much do you want something and is it worth what you're paying? And I remember I wore it all the time because I wanted to get my money's worth. It wasn't really that cute and it was like a towel almost. It was kind of weird. All right, that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my first time tag. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you want more videos like this, let me know in the comments what you want to see, what you want me to talk about. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. My first best friend is my friend from It's kindergarten. Blah. I can't say kindergarten. Kindergarten. But let's all be honest, Backstreet Boys was way better than NSYNC. Backstreet Boys for the win. Excuse me.
Okay, peace off, guys. Like, peace, bye. Bye-bye.